Hey, Jackhole, spoiler alert.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Sure.
When I was a kid, right, I never really thought about death. You know, I don't think most kids do until you're confronted by it. And once I was scared shitless. I was so afraid of it. But there's something about being with these boys. I don't know, it reminded me that the only guarantee you have as a human being is that you are going to die. And if you're lucky, you get to choose how to spend those last moments. And you're right, Pete, this moment matters. Every moment matters. Especially at the end.
The Long Walk is so good. It's beautifully shot, incredibly well written, and acted with brutal honesty. But it's also kind of a bummer.
It ain't f***ing fair!
And I don't mean that as a bad thing. Just because a piece of art is bleak doesn't mean that the art in question is devoid of emotional value. The Long Walk has a lot to say about society, the illusion of choice, the indomitable strength of the human spirit, and of course, how fun even the shittiest things can be when you're with the boys. Admittedly, this isn't the most original story on the planet. The core framework has been used to tell stories countless times from other Stephen King stories like The Running Man or Hunger Games or Snowpiercer. There's a bajillion of them. But what makes The Long Walk so much more emotionally affecting for me over those other stories is how it makes you feel like you're a contestant in The Long Walk as opposed to some voyeuristic viewer from the Capitol like in the Hunger Games movies. Let me make it perfectly clear. Participating in The Long Walk fucking blows, so it's kind of fitting that watching it is just as distressing. The camera literally never leaves the road. We don't get to see what the broadcast looks like. We don't get any insight into how closely the Major is listening to them, and the outside world remains mostly a mystery. Any tiny glimpses of the world beyond the asphalt in front of us is purposely kept vague and up to viewer interpretation. We get to see what the contestants see, and that's it. Every shot is composed with the participant POV in mind. Every choice is deliberately made to make you a doomed contestant along with these 50 young men. I mean, how cool is it that because the film deliberately makes you a contestant in The Long Walk and you deliberately chose to watch the movie, you chose to do The Long Walk just like all the other characters in the film did. That's so cool, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
I mean, even though only 50 of us get picked in the lottery, all of the boys in this country put in for it. I'm not exaggerating. Everybody puts in for it, even though it's not required, because we're all so fucking desperate.
For anyone who doesn't know, The Long Walk tells the story of an alternate dystopian America, where after some big-ass war of some sort, the United States economy has collapsed and the country has completely fallen apart. Extreme wealth inequality is the new norm, and a majority of the country is in ruins. In an attempt to motivate the populace once a year, the military, who seems to be the controlling government body at this point, hosts a televised competition called The Long Walk, where one male applicant is chosen from each state to simply walk or die.
And we did the first long walk all those years ago to inspire and reintegrate the value of work ethic.
Well, maybe if you millennials weren't so easily offended, this country'd be a better place. Okay, boom.
The whole idea is to keep walking at a minimum of 3 miles per hour until you're the last man standing. If you dip below the 3 miles per hour minimum for any reason more than 3 times, you get executed at gunpoint right there on the spot. There are no exceptions. It doesn't matter if you are having explosive diarrhea, or your shoes are untied, or you break an ankle. You walk or you die. The last man standing then receives untold riches and gets to be a momentary Make-A-Wish kid that's gifted anything they desire right then and there, as long as it doesn't interfere with the Long Walk competition in any way. But before we go any further, why don't you leave a like on the video? I know the algorithm works in mysterious ways and you'll probably never see me again, but you know, a like always really helps. So it actually says right here that if you leave a like on the video, you get taken off of Trump and Palantir's Long Walk participant list. They are building one. You're already on it. So leave a like. It's kind of in your best interest. I mean, look, it's right there. Anyways, This movie immediately attaches us to the hip of this guy named Ray Garrity, and we never truly deviate away from his perspective on the events that transpire. He's our eyes in, and Ray is a fantastic protagonist to follow throughout the film. He's clearly an intelligent and kind person, and he isn't your typical shy, silent, or damaged protagonist. Ray is confident, charming, and a natural-born leader, but he isn't without his own personal demons that are pushing him to be here. Garrity's just a chill-ass dude. You know, everybody knows when he's that guy. He's like the center of the social circle, and some people love him, some people hate him because he doesn't give them enough attention. You know, there's always that kind of dude, is all I'm trying to say. Ray's ability to make deep connections with the other contestants makes it really easy as a viewer to immediately invest in these other characters he meets because the writing is so strong and so natural, it just feels like you're doing all this meet cute shit right along with him. Unfortunately, Ray's ability to befriend and connect with all these guys is also this horrible double-edged sword since, you know, everybody's gonna die, but we'll get to more of that in a minute. Ray immediately hits it off the strongest with our deuteragonist Pete McVries, and the two of them form a bond that functions as the emotional core of the film and the mouthpiece for all of its themes.
The right person can do a hell of a lot of good with the right amount of money.
Yeah, but how many people do you know with a hell lot of money who are doing a hell lot of good?
They walk with each other, they argue with each other, they cry, laugh, debate each other, and fight through every nightmarish scenario that the long walk throws at them with such a natural and easygoing chemistry that you routinely forget only one of them is going to survive this. And that undercurrent is present with every relationship in the film, not just Ray and Pete. The unnerving fact that only one of these fine fellas won't get shot in the head simmers just under the surface throughout the film, and it's a true testament to the director and team that they always seem to find a way to bring that reality crashing back down just as the characters and us, the audience, seemingly forgot about it. The way this film melds your mind with the mind of one of these characters is exceptional. There isn't a better way to say this. You're there. Like, straight up, you're walking the long walk for better or for worse. And that isn't accomplished with some new, never-before-seen filmmaking technique. It's not like you're on a 4D ride where they spray you with water every time it rains or something. It's simply a complete and total mastery of the fundamentals of filmmaking and storytelling. Very quickly, I felt myself completely engulfed by this experience. I felt like that Joy model from Blade Runner 2049 when Ana de Armas syncs up with that replicant hooker thing, except in this metaphor, I'm Ana de Armas and the replicant hooker is Ray Garrity. I didn't say Ryan Gosling's character, so this isn't a weird sex thing. This metaphor still works. It's not like in this metaphor, the major would be Ryan Gosling's character. Or would that be Stephen King? The point I'm trying to illustrate is that because the film does such an incredible job of pulling you into this world and making you empathize with its fully realized characters, it also kind of creates a genuinely painful viewing experience. I mean, this is a Stephen King story after all. We're not watching some PG-13 young adult Hunger Games thing here. This whole premise has kind of been oversaturated with shit like Divergent over the last 20 years, so I would forgive you if you thought that this movie was gonna pull its punches. It doesn't. I won't be going into too much spoiler territory just yet, but just know that the violence in this can be hard to stomach at times, but that doesn't mean it's gratuitous. The graphic violence here isn't for shock value. The film just wants death to feel like death. The intention is to show you how genuinely traumatizing the loss of a human life is, and by extension, how grateful you should be for the moments and people that you still have. I mean, how can you fully appreciate what you have if you never allow yourself to consider how painful it would be to lose it all? In the real world, people don't usually get some final heroic last stand like Iron Man. We scream, we cry, we shit our pants until it's over, and that's about it. As consumers of media, we can lose sight of how devastating a simple gunshot is to the human body because our media landscape is so saturated with over-the-top, consequence-free action violence. I mean, King himself even said, if you look at these superhero movies, you'll see some supervillain who's destroying whole city blocks, but you never see any blood. And man, that's just wrong. It's almost like pornographic. One of his big conditions when they came to him about adapting his book was to maintain its edge, saying, if you're not going to show it, don't bother. And so they made a pretty brutal movie.
Man, guys gotta have a couple buddies, man. That's what my daddy always used to say. Fuck! Oh, shit, man. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. It's
I don't
okay.
want to go.
Hey,
And I don't want to die. Hey.
The Long Walk spends real time humanizing these characters, then forces you to watch in agonizing detail as they get killed. It is intentionally traumatic. It can be a truly gut-wrenching experience to hear someone you've come to care about beg for their life or to call out for help in their final moments. And I'm sure you're thinking, what the actual fuck? Why would anyone want to watch something like that? Life is hard enough, capitalism is already bending me over a barrel on the regular, and I'm barely keeping it together. I don't need to sit here and cosplay the murder of all my friends. To which I say, fair. Obviously, know your own limits. I'm not trying to romanticize depression or sorrow. Pain does not automatically make a piece of art profound. But good art should make you feel something, and not every worthwhile feeling is totally pleasant. Joy matters, but so does grief, fear, dread, and loss. An enormous amount of art is built around those emotions for a reason. Art allows us to confront grief at a safe distance, and sometimes that distance teaches us what we value before life has to teach it to us for real. The pain of watching is not a reason to avoid the long walk. In many ways, it is the reason to watch. You're supposed to be devastated by the fact that Hank left his wife Clementine to enter the long walk, only to understand the gravity of that mistake in his final moments. If you understand why he joined and why he regrets it, and that fills you with sorrow, then you've allowed the film's lesson to land. If the scene where Ray sees his mom again and almost gets himself killed begging for one last hug from her makes you cry ugly tears like it does to me, then you have interacted with the movie in a meaningful way. You haven't just consumed it, you've allowed it to affect you. Or you're just a big mama's boy, like me. Popcorn movies and happy endings are great, but many of the lessons that stick with us are learned through pain, not pleasure. The Long Walk is supposed to give you perspective. It's only human to get consumed by the small things that make daily life miserable, but being confronted with death and the fragility of the human existence can shake those things back into their proper proportions. Personally, I don't think it's a bad idea to check in on your conscience every once in a while and make sure that your tear ducts still work. That's what art is for, baby.
I told you, you should have hired the monkey.